Hello and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of A Handful of Hope. I am so happy and grateful to have Matt and Linda with us today, who are authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and owners of Lutz Career Consultants. As career and life strategists, they help successful mid-career professionals develop a new mindset and learn how to match their mission, passion, and purpose to their career, so they can experience life at the highest level. Matt and Linda are recognized as expert trainers, presenters, and coaches, and have spoken to organizations worldwide to motivate, inform, and inspire. Organizations include North Carolina State University, American Marketing Association, Fidelity Investments, International Association of Administrative Professionals, Wake Technical Community College, and North Carolina Department of Commerce. Over the past 10 years, Matt and Linda have helped thousands of professionals through their mindset and career programs, which provide a step-by-step framework for evolving into the next level of what they call top-tier contributors. Matt and Linda are also excited about their upcoming book of the same title, Top Tier Contributors, Experiencing Life at the Highest Level. Matt and Linda are adventurers. When they are not helping people fulfill their potential and make the impact they are capable of, they enjoy spending time with family and traveling to exotic places and experiencing local cultures. Matt and Linda, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Gee whiz, we did all that?
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. You guys sound like cool people.
Wow, we must be 120 years old.
You know, I'm so excited for this conversation because helping people with career has been a huge part of your career.
Yeah.
And I think this is a unique conversation to have at this time. I was skimming the headline of the latest unemployment report. So just for reference, it's April 23rd, 2020 right now. We're in the midst of the Corona, COVID-19, great pause, great shutdown, whatever we're calling it. And in the US, I think the employment numbers are at 26 million right now. I think one of the highest, if not the highest it's been since the Great Depression in the 20s. A lot of people right now are thinking about their career. And a lot of people who may still be employed are thinking if they're still going to have a career. Mm-hmm. You know, how might you start addressing those folks?
Ooh. Well, I think probably the biggest thing is that we always go through changes, right? Change happens all the time. And so if we are guiding our career from our hearts out, so I'm not allowing the most recent event to control what's going on in my career, but rather I'm looking to say, well, who am I and what are my greatest strengths and talents and giftings and abilities, and how can I best serve and share those? Because when I look from that perspective, I'm living from inside out and not from outside in.
What was that statistic that you said 80% of people, what was it?
Yeah, so it's Matt, it's 60 to 80% of the people in the US are reported to have a strong dislike or hate of the job they're in.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And so if we think about that, we apply that to the 26 million people who have lost their jobs right now, and we look at that 80%, that tells us about 20 million people have been furloughed or let go of something they hate doing.
Yeah.
And so, though it's definitely a tragedy, it's definitely a messed up situation. But if all of our mindset and our perspective is that it's a tragedy and it's a messed up situation, if you got fired from a job, you know, and you hated it, a lot of times you'd be mad at first, you'd be upset at first, but then a few minutes later you'd go, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, whenever we run into these types of situations, I always want to say that life happens for us, right? And not to us. And what else can this mean? And if 60 to 80% of the people out there ask that question, what else can this mean? One of the answers has to be, now I can find something that I can be passionate about and be mission matched about and actually have a job that I enjoy going to and that it's not really a job.
Yeah. It's so funny because we've been hearing, you know, we try not to watch the news very much,
Okay.
but everybody's talking about getting back to normal. And I've had this thought recently about, well, how about if we go back to better than normal instead of normal? Like,
Yeah.
what if we really take advantage of this opportunity to say, I don't like my job anyway, or what aspects of my career do I like versus what I don't like? And hey, it's a great time to reinvent yourself right now.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's fascinating hearing the two of you talk about this, because from what I recall in school, and I worked briefly as a manager right after college, and so you'd see job applications come through, whatnot. None of the things that you're talking about were things that were listed on applications or resumes. Yet, in my opinion, and working with different folks, and I know you two agree with this, these are the most important things people should consider with career. And why has it been so backward? Why is this not the stuff that's talked about early on in what we should be looking for and how we evolve a career?
Well, there's a huge percentage of people who go to college because their parents went to college, their parents want them to go to college. Half of them never find a major while they're in college, and they end up just graduating, right? And so they're going out of obligation, or they think they can have make more money. Most people, the mindset has always been, you go to work to make money, then you come home to have fun.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced that my entire life. Okay, so I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17 years old, and I had fun in boot camp. Not many people can say that. I laughed through boot camp, got in trouble for it. But from that point all the way through, sometimes the work was hard. Sometimes, in all the jobs that I've held, sometimes it was not good, but I still enjoyed going through it. And I think that's the biggest problem is if your mindset is, I'm here to make money, there's nothing going to be good about it except for the paycheck. So you're waiting from paycheck to paycheck to have a good feeling.
Yeah. I was speaking with a client the other day, and was asking her, well, what's going on, and why was she calling me? And she said, well, I feel like I'm Superman, but I have to go to work and be Clark Kent all day. Like, there's no opportunity for me, and I'm not, what the workforce is reinforcing in me is I need to do the job they're telling me to do, and forget about who I really am. And so then I've started believing, oh, well, I can't really, there is no such thing as a dream job. I can't really be mission matched with my gifts, talents, and abilities and aligned to the work I actually do and enjoy it and feel like I'm making a contribution. So we know that belief, right, drives everything. And so if I believe I can't have it, then my actions, all the things that I do now are going to line up behind that belief system.
That's so incredibly powerful to consider, that going to work. How did you frame it? Going to work trains you almost to believe that you can't be who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So often you're in that role and you're kind of stuck in that role where they're like, just do what I'm telling you to do. So many of the people that we've worked with, they'll say, well, I'm at work and I'll come up with this great idea how to improve something or make something better. And I'm just told to stay inside the lines,
do your part,
just do your job.
Do what you're being paid for.
Yeah. So they kind of are trained to believe, oh, I can't really use all my gifts and talents at work. I really can't make the biggest difference that I want to and be a contributor at the highest level. I mean, I think at the core, I want to feel like I mattered, and that, what do we talk about? One of my biggest regrets would be going to the grave with my greatest potential still untapped. And so I think that it's kind of has been a cycle in that the workforce kind of reinforces that belief.
I think that, and maybe that's part of where we get that 60-80% from, is so many people go, I imagine the routine for so many for work, it's you wake up and the alarm goes off and the first thing is, ugh, right? Literally your first exacerbated breath is ugh, and then it's hit the snooze because you're just going to try to get a few more minutes and delay the inevitable as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You pick yourself up out of bed, you drag yourself, this is kind of the language we use sometimes. We drag ourselves out of bed into the shower.
Mm-hmm.
We sit there and we just, down our coffee, and then we get in the car and we struggle through our commute. And then we go into work and we keep our head down and we just try to make it through the day without our boss biting our head off or anything else like that. And I'm wondering if is so much of the dissatisfaction and that 60, 80% of the unemployment is so much that dissatisfaction, do you think, because people deep down know that they have such a greater potential than what they're able to realize on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely.
It's amazing to me that we would put up with that we would, okay, in the 70s, thank God it's Friday. It's thank God it's Friday, and oh my gosh, here comes Monday.
Yeah, Sunday night blues.
And so it's been ingrained in our culture that work is bad.
Wow.
What's really sad about it is we spend 8 to 10 hours a day there. We spend from 8 in the morning, say till 6 at night. We have about 4 or 5 hours at home, and then we sleep. So are we going to have 4 hours of happy time? But the rest of the time is either you're unconscious or you're unconscious at work.
Yeah, right.
So there's got to be some other way.
Yeah.
And we know the way. We've helped so many people get the way, but everybody don't put up with it. Let's start picketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the magic? I mean, what is the key where people they're not waking up going ugh, but they're jumping out and going yippee?
Yeah.
I think the first thing that we have to do is shift our perspective 2 millimeters and say we don't go to work for a paycheck. We go to work to have a fulfilling life, to make a difference, to contribute to. I mean, we're learning that businesses are important for our economy, and we need to contribute to that economy at the same time being fulfilled. And we've mentioned a couple of times being mission matched.
Yeah.
When you're mission matched, when your mission, passion, and purpose for your life matches up with what you do at a job, wherever you go, and you end up getting a paycheck for it, it changes an entire perspective. It changes everything because now you have a mission at work as well.
Yeah. And when you are like what we call a top tier contributor, right? A top tier contributor is the person who jumps out of bed because they can't wait to go to work in the morning. In fact, I had a client one time say to me, the weekends feel really long because I can't wait to get back to work on Monday. And I'm like, wow. Oh, that's it. That's what we're going for, right? And so when I am a top tier contributor, I'm jumping out of bed in the morning. I'm enjoying the time with my family in the morning, going to work, engaged, authentic, passionate about what I do all day. Doesn't mean nothing.
Where'd the time go?
Yeah, doesn't mean nothing. Sure, things still go wrong. There's still problems to solve. We still have a day where every once in a while we're like, I'm glad that day's over. But for the most part, we're engaged, right? And that's a big deal. I'm engaged at work. My voice is being heard, and I'm contributing in a meaningful way. And the end of the day comes, and like you said, it's like, whoa, where did the day go? And I really feel deep inside that I matter.
I know it sounds like a fairy tale. I know it sounds like a fairy tale, but literally it's been our life all our lives. It's crazy that I mean, we've gotten here to this place with the book that we're writing and the business we have because we've experienced it and we've realized how we can help people, and we want to help people do the same thing.
I don't think I realized that wasn't the case for everybody. Like we would have, some of our stories are just kind of ridiculous, but when I was teaching at the college, and I literally, like, my manager was like, well, you tell us what course you want to teach, when you want to teach it, where you want to teach it, how frequently, and basically I could do anything I wanted to. And I'm like, well, that kind of has been my experience most of my career. And so I just sort of thought everybody had that. And then I'm teaching at the community college with unemployed adults, and I'm like, oh wow, my experience is really different. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I have my dream job, and people are like, that's a fart. There's no such thing as a dream job. And I'm like, well, no, there is. So I think so much of it starts with mindset, because we know if you don't believe you can have something, you can't have it.
You won't have it.
Yeah.
You can have it, but you won't have it.
Because you don't believe you can, right? The one who believes he can, the one who believes he can't are both right.
So there's a few things you two touched on there, and I want to break it down to give people kind of considerations, because so we'll keep playing in that framework of 60, 80%. We have 26 million in the US that are reported as unemployment. I also have to assume that there's a lot of people who are still currently employed that are looking at this situation saying, you know, what's going to happen to me? Or do I even want to stay with this anymore once I get out of this? I mean, if this is like looking at life and my mortality with this coronavirus thing and my career, do I really want to keep subjecting myself to this thing that I'm not happy with? You mentioned mission, passion, purpose, authenticity, mindset. And I think all those are such important pieces to this puzzle of creating fulfillment and career fulfillment in life, finding a place that you belong, that you can wake up and have that yippee kind of thing. Where do people start with it though? You know, is it like we're grabbing pieces of each of those and we're putting them in the stew and we're mixing it around and it becomes, or do we focus on the mindset piece first? Do we focus on the authenticity piece first? Do we focus on the mission? Where do people begin with that and they start to really dive into that piece?
There's no way that you can live an authentic life without knowing who you are. So it can't be there. You can't strive for authenticity till you dig in and you go, who am I really? And for me, my passion is that everybody would know their passion. Okay? So if there's one thing you could do right now, everybody can do right now, is to sit back and think back through their entire life and ask themselves, when was it in their life where their heart leapt, that they absolutely came alive? And it could be, with my son, it could be video games.
Music.
And then music. When you watch TV, what kind of shows do you watch? What kind of commercials do you say, don't change that? There are things in every part of your life that just light you up. I say light you up. Sometimes I say make your heart leap. It feels like it's coming out of your chest. You sit up. You start to be more animated when you talk about it. These are your passions. Those are symptoms of your passion. And that's where you start. You find that passion, you tap into that passion and be authentic to that passion. At least then you've got a little bit going.
Yeah.
You've got an idea where to head.
And you can see too, as you look, like you can look across your career, whether it's been long or short, you can look back through all the roles you've had or even school and classes, and where did you engage? Where did your mind go, ooh, I want to know more about that? Or did I really connect with people. I love being around people. And I've always loved the jobs where I got to talk all the time, or, whatever it is.
Yes, she has.
That's gonna, that's going to be a big clue. So I think for me, there's probably two things. One is for sure following your heart, connecting with your passion. That's a big deal. But we've also found that with our clients that mindset is huge. Because I might start with, what do I believe? And I would probably say, I personally would say do that first, because I might not even believe I loved anything in my life. Oh, I don't even have passion. Like we've heard that before. Like, I don't even think I have a passion.
There's nothing I'm passionate about.
Yeah. So
that's what they think.
Yeah. So I think that mindset is a phenomenal place also to start. So these are kind of the first top two things we would do. And specifically with mindset, I always like to talk about, what story are you believing? And so we have these stories in all aspects of our lives. What story are you believing about your health, about your finances, about your marriage? But let's talk about the career one. So what, on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, where is your career? And what does that look like? And then, so that'd be the first step. Second step would be, well, what is a 10? And then the third question would be, well, why can't you have a 10?
Yeah.
And by investigating kind of like, what is the story that I've chosen to believe about why I can't have what I perceive to be a 10 in my career? And that will start to kind of uncover some of those belief systems that you have. And, you know, what we've been kind of diving into and learning a lot about lately is that a belief is merely a decision, right? I've decided to believe I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm overqualified, or I'm underqualified. And when we start to say, well, wait a minute, why did I decide to believe that? And how is that limiting me from really just launching out into the possibility of having a career I could love?
What a concept to consider, that if you're in school and you start learning about things and you think that the first thing you learn about growing up and going to work is that you should always ask, what would a 10 look like for you? Right? Like just in hearing you say that, I think about, because my imagination is that most people have never even considered that, because again, the job is just something they have to do. It's like, what is the saying? It's, well, I have to work if I want to eat. I have to work if I want to live. It's this I have to. Versus actually considering and saying, if this thing that we're spending, I think Matt, you said it, we're 8 to 10 hours a day, we're spending the majority of our waking time doing, if that could be a 10 for us, what would that look like?
Yeah.
That's the funnest part. It's like, if I had one thing to say to folks right now, is what an opportunity you have. You're sitting at home, napping twice a day, eating the other times. What if you did take inventory and say, what would a 10 look like in a day for me?
Yeah.
And could you imagine our success, every one of our successes, all the success we've had and all of our clients have had, has started with an intention, has started with a decision and intention that says, this is what I'm going after. And it's a 10. And then get afraid. And then take action.
Yeah.
And do something to get to that 10. And then guess what? Get afraid again. And then be tenacious until it happens, because it will happen. I don't think we've ever set on our intention for the last 28 years together that it didn't happen. And we're no different.
Right.
The only difference is between here. We believe it can happen. And it does.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The third step was be tenacious, right? And actually, this is something that our 25-year-old son said to us, is that, why do we think that just because we are living or working or operating in our passion, that it's going to be easy and it's never going to be hard? And he's a singer-songwriter in Nashville, so he's in one of the hardest industries on the planet. And it's his passion, but there's still days that are hard and then he has to work hard. And so I think sometimes people think, well, if it's my passion, then it should be easy and I will never have any resistance to it. So that step 3 of being tenacious is so important, because living in your passion and doing all of this doesn't mean you're not going to ever hit resistance.
I love that. What does a 10 look like for the two of you? I'm curious. What does a 10 look like?
I can read it for you if you like.
Yeah, please. I'd love that. Yeah.
Because we write stuff down.
We've been doing a lot of evaluation during this time personally, so we're not asking you to do something we haven't already been doing.
Yeah.
Our world's a bit different now that we have our own business, and we've gotten to this place through many different successes. But now our perfect day is waking up together, is enjoying a morning routine together. We literally are together 24 hours a day. We've been that way and comfortable with that way since we were married. And then, doing work, helping people realize that it can be awesome. I like to say that we like to make people awesomer than they believe they can be. And that's a word, awesomer.
I like that word.
And so that's what we look forward to doing every day, all day long. We love being adventurous. We want to do that in Hawaii. We want to do that in Aruba. We want to do that in Jamaica. We want to do that wherever we are. And we're homeless right now, and wherever we are is the best place we could ever be.
Yeah, we a couple of years ago, probably about 3 years ago now, we sat down and really did a deep dive on what matters to us. And we were actually traveling at the time and just sat down and had some real heartfelt time of saying, at the end of this world, like, what matters? And we really only came up with 4 things: our faith, our family, family and close friends, our people, and serving our people, our clients. So that's helping people become who they're created to be, and just really tap into and unleash the power and passion and authenticity inside. And then the 4th one was adventure. And so, we, in almost a year ago, sold everything that we owned so that we literally could travel around the world. And that's what we've been doing. So it literally is, it's adventure, it's exploring new places, but at the core of it, it's serving, serving people and helping them become, right, that version that they've been dreaming of.
We can't stop doing it, because we'll be sitting in a restaurant and we'll just strike up a conversation. Yeah. We'll be literally UTVing in Jamaica, and the car behind us will stop, and then we'll just be talking to them, and all of a sudden we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's the coolest part, is wherever we are, we can help.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, a dream.
Yeah.
That's 10 right there.
Yeah. And I think that when it's so authentic and you're just being who you are, it really does just kind of splash out over people wherever you're at. And so opportunity just comes to you, and opportunity is everywhere you look. And I think that whoever's listening now, whatever place you are in your life, if you will truly tap into who you are and begin to release that, you will start to see the opportunities to share and help and contribute. And when you're in that place, it's like all the opportunity opens for you. It's pretty incredible.
If we put a paycheck on the back burner, it's coming to you.
Yeah.
It doing what you love will bring all the resources you need. It's just, it's a law.
Yeah. although in the beginning it's kind of scary to believe that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, right?
What's incredible to me is when both of you are describing a 10 and what matters. It's so simple in the sense of what really does matter and what really makes up a 10. I didn't hear anything in there about the monikers, especially in Western culture, that we often weigh as being successful in 10s. There was no exotic car. There was no
I forgot.
Massive social media follower, designer clothes, or the latest iPhone, or celebrity endorsements, or any of those types of things. I think that's so incredible. We only have a minute left.
Oh.
And you two have shared so generously and so amazingly. I'm wondering if I could get one more thing from you. There's people who are listening right now. I shared with you before the start of this, the intention I hold for folks is that the person who needs to see and hear this, or the people, are watching, listening right now. And they've just had their kind of eyes opened up, and their heart is singing and calling and knocking for the first time, and their head's kind of like turned off, and maybe they're considering something new or something different. If you could encourage them to take one step right after this ends, one step that is going to be towards a new normal for them. Is it a step in mindset? Is it a step in authenticity? Is it a step in looking at what matters? what step would you encourage them to take?
Ooh, what matters probably.
Why you got to do this?
And I want to see if you both have the same answer now.
Do we have to have the same answer?
No, not at all.
Okay. I really feel like mindset is so powerfully important. Of course, those beliefs are going to determine what happens. But for me personally, it all began when I asked the question, what really matters? Because all of a sudden, all the garbage that everyone else was talking about kind of disappeared when I tapped in and said, you know, at the end of my life, what's really going to matter is that I was a good person, I made a difference, I helped others, and that the legacy of my family is one of happy, well-adjusted kids and grandkids.
Now you took all the whole minute. Thanks.
And they say chivalry is dead.
I gave her the minute, okay?
I saw what you did there. I'm totally with you.
If there was one thing, this whole COVID crisis, whatever you want to call it, has been one pile of negative after another. Adversarial spirits, all kinds of, fighting, infighting, all kinds of stuff. And I just would say to those of you who are watching right now, dream. Dream again. Just cut everything out. Go into some place where you can't hear the bickering, you can't hear the negative, and just bring the dreams back up out of your heart. That's where you're going to find your authenticity. That's where you're going to find your passion. That's where you're going to find your pleasure. That's where you're going to find your life. That's
where you're going to find what matters.
That's what you're going to find what matters. Yeah. It's in your dreams.
Well, everyone, what a treat this was. You are going to want to rewatch, re-listen, take lots of notes, take more notes. Whether you are in that place right now where you are finding yourself without a job and trying to figure out what the next chapter is for you, or you're someone who still is fortunate enough to have a job, but maybe you're considering, do you really want to keep on this path or something new? Matt and Linda broke down some things that, I've never been to Harvard Business School, but I'm going to stereotype the expression by saying that you probably don't learn this in Harvard Business School. And, the notion of really looking into mindset, heart set, the authenticity with yourself and at work, about really how to maximize that time, the idea that you're having to believe that you're someone that you're not at work just to perform a job and live up to a title, which leaves you to believe that you can't be who you truly are. Gosh, there's so much here to explore and dive deep into about what really makes not a meaningful career, but a meaningful and fulfilling life. And I love the idea of just sitting down and simplifying it all by defining and asking yourself what matters, to allowing yourself to dream a little bit more and dream a little bit differently than you had before, to throw out perhaps everything that you were once taught, which is that you have to go and do this, to get to work, to then be able to maybe one day have fun. Start having fun now. I mean, imagine coming out of the Corona, COVID pandemic, or any season of your life of challenge and tragedy, and being able to come out of it having fun, being able to come out of it having a clear focus of understanding what matters most to you, having a clear direction of where your dreams are taking you, and making that your mission, finding your passion, and living it every day, not just at home in those couple hours where you're not working, but 24/7, 365, understanding that there's going to be bumps, there's going to be challenging times. But when you're doing it in pursuit of something that's your dream, that's your passion, it just makes it all part of the ride. Matt and Linda, this has been absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for sharing us with your magic, your gifts, your wisdom. You have been an absolute blessing today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time, everybody, on another edition of A Handful of Hope. Bye-bye.